Sanitarium. The spirit soar, the mind is educated, and the bowels are born again.
Anthony Hopkins plays a pioneering health nut in The Road to Wellville, one of 5 new movies we'll be reviewing this week on Siskel and Ebert. Also on this show, Kurt Russell in the science fiction thriller Stargate, and Richard Dreyfuss as a psychiatrist involved in a murder case. Also, we'll pay tribute to the late Burt Lancaster. I'm Roger Ebert of the Chicago Sun-Times.
And I'm Gene Siskel of the Chicago Tribune. Our first film is The Road to Wellville, and despite fine actors, beautiful costumes, sumptuous production designs, and an offbeat premise, this picture is pretty much of a pointless mess. Set in 1907, The Road to Wellville takes place at a Battle Creek, Michigan health spa run by cornflakes inventor Dr. John Harvey Kellogg. Anthony Hopkins, with Bugs Bunny teeth, here lecturing Matthew Broderick on the evils of casual sex, even with one's own wife.
Candidly, Mr. Lightbody, that lump of flesh that dangles between your legs is a dangerous weapon. We'll have to be harnessed, locked away, or retired, for both your sakes.
But we don't, well, not lately, not for a long time, not since
It is my scientific conclusion that sex is unnecessary and dangerous.
But is that a bit drastic?
You cannot afford the loss of life-giving fluids. The shock to the system can be fatal. Please, blow into this.
He's a health nut, and most everyone in this movie is a nut of sorts, including Kellogg's angry adopted son, George, played by Dana Carvey, who is always extorting his dad with his antisocial behavior.
Why are you here?
I came from my allowance.
Oh.
And I'd like to look at the new ladies.
And that's Bridget Fonda as Matthew Broderick's wife. Much of the would-be comedy here involves the release of bodily fluids. Here's Broderick in the hands of a lovely nurse played by Tracy Lynn.
This is a colonic wash. It is hot paraffin, soap, and tepid water. Now, bend over a little bit, please. There.
Also hanging around the area are a couple of scam artists played by John Cusack and Michael Lerner.
It's true. I almost had a factory. But unfortunately, the thief I was dealing with wanted rather too much for the lease, and I lacked the necessary spondulix.
Spondulix?
Capital, Charles. Money, as in running short of.
The Road to Wellville does look good. A lot of loving care went into every facet of the filmmaking here, except one, the script. Obviously, writer-director Alan Parker is making some kind of commentary on today's health craze, but I'm not sure what comment. I don't think there's much of a point to this piece, which is why they regularly interrupt the farce with some naked bodies just to keep us awake. Barely. Thumbs down for me on The Road to Wellville.
Well, there's a lot in what you say, Gene, and yet my thumb is up, and I'll tell you why. No, first of all, I'm one of these people. I'm interested in all of this stuff. I'm the kind of guy that gets hypnotized going up and down the aisles of the health food store, looking at all of these products, reading all of these books.
I would have rather have been in a health food store than in this picture.
And oddly enough, I think that actually this movie will appeal more to the targets of its satire than to people like yourself. I thought there were a lot of big laughs in it, and although I agree with you that I don't have any idea what the point is, I think it does show a fascinating microcosm of American history when this town of Battle Creek, for a period of 10 or 20 years, was like a health boom town, and I enjoyed that.
Roger, if it stayed within the health boom town in this sense, instead of bringing in these side characters, the people that are doing the defrauding.
They're all gone to town. They're all part of the same thing.
No, it's just like
at one point there were something like 200 different cornflakes manufacturers.
The brother, no, my point is that the son is thrown in for comic relief. The nudity's thrown in for comic relief to
there's nothing wrong with comic relief, and actually there's more to the nudity than you admit, because it's not just nudity. It has to do with the whole cult of the body and the fact that while at the same time they're talking against sex, the place just reeks with sex.
The early shots of the guy fantasizing are thrown in just to spice up the story.
Okay, disagreement, I'd say. Next movie, and our next movie we may not disagree on. I don't know. We'll see. It's called Silent Fall. It's still another film about a man smart enough to be a child psychiatrist, but too dumb to stay out of an absurd and unbelievable plot like this. The movie stars Richard Dreyfuss as a man who says he's retired from the field, but then a teenager named Sylvie, played here by Liv Tyler, turns to him for help. Both of her parents have been murdered, and the key to the crime may be locked up inside the memory of her little brother, who is autistic and witnessed the crime. Little Timmy can't talk in his own voice, but curiously enough, he's a perfect mimic of other people's voices, a regular little Frank Gorshin, and that makes him into a human tape recorder with perfect recall of the murder scene.
Oh, God, let me die now. Sweet God, let me die.
Sylvie.
My mother. My dad was dead. She wanted to die. Let go, let go. That's me. I guess that's when I came in.
As the investigation continues, the young woman tries to seduce the psychiatrist, who keeps his distance, but is not totally immune to her charms. Far be it from me to reveal the ending of this film, except to say it's a classic combination of bad plotting, impossible developments, and a payoff scene that really must be seen and heard to be believed. Silent Fall was directed by Bruce Beresford, who made Driving Miss Daisy. He and Richard Dreyfuss are usually a guarantee of some kind of quality in a movie, but something really went wrong this time.
Oh, it surely did. There's stuff in this picture that is really goofy. First of all, it is surprising.
That's the exactly correct word, goofy.
It is surprisingly bloody. That's one thing. It starts out this way. Then it goes into sort of farcical comedy with the little boy in one scene. Where he goes to a restaurant and imitates the hostess of the restaurant, and he misses up all the seating at the restaurant. What's that doing in this picture?
This kid is either autistic or a Vegas impressionist.
Exactly.
I don't know which one.
John Lithgow is really trashing his career by playing another nut. I mean, and a really stupid psychiatrist, of course, the profession that probably gets trashed more than
the big payoff? The big
I mean, it's just stupid. And then to mix
What
in,
about that ice flow? How'd you like the ice flow?
Oh, come on. How about to mix in child abuse, a legitimate subject, with this trash?
Yeah,
it's just a bad
pretty
film.
much of a complete mess. Coming up, Kurt Russell and James Spader lead an expedition into space to find out who really built the pyramids of Egypt. Stargate is next.
Jackson has identified the seventh symbol.
That's Egyptologist James Spader on the trail of a key to interplanetary travel in Stargate. A big, wobbly, wooden, old-fashioned science fiction piece, sort of lumbering, oafish, bloated adventure story we got 15 years ago in the backwash of the success of Star Wars. The story this time, there's been a discovery of an ancient stone carving that allows travel through space. In short order, Spader and a government security advisor, played by Kurt Russell, are preparing to explore a distant planet with a strange connection to ancient Egypt.
It's over. Stay with him.
Now on the new planet, Spader is mistaken for a god. Wow, what a cliched scene. But the biggest disappointment and the biggest hoot in Stargate occurs when the leader of the planet, an alien masquerading as the sun god Ra, changes into human form. And guess who it is? You're not going to believe this. Jay Davidson from The Crying Game. Eventually, there's a battle as the Earthlings prepare to leave the planet. Stargate reportedly was a very expensive film to make. I can't see it on the screen. What a waste.
Here they find a gate that's going to allow them to travel, quote, to the other end of the known universe.
Right.
And so, with about a week's preparation, some scientist who was a complete nut who nobody in his profession will listen to hooks up with 6 or 7 guys with automatic machine guns and Kurt Russell, and they walk through the Stargate. That would certainly be the way we would mount an expedition to the other side of the universe, right? And when we get there, what are we going to do? We're going to shoot everybody. And meanwhile, nobody asks Spader. Spader says, oh, yeah, I know how to get us back. And then they get to the other side without anybody having asked, well, How do you know how to get us back?
Oh,
I mean,
getting back in time travel and space travel is always always badly handled in the movies. But if they went there, and if something were magical...
Couldn't something, you go to the other side of the universe to have a gunfight.
There you go.
Amazing.
Do you know that the budget supposedly on this picture was $55 million?
Boy, they must have had some great lunches.
When we come back, Linda Fiorentino stars in The Last Seduction as a woman who has all the cards up her sleeve.
This is just to take care of us during my residency until the doctor bucks start rolling in, right?
They're soft. I thought they'd be stiff.
He's unlaundered, untraceable.
Linda Fiorentino and Bill Pullman star there in a scene from The Last Seduction. They're married, but they won't be together for long because she leaves town in a hurry with the money, and we see that she is one hard-boiled dame. Wow, this is one of the most uncompromisingly tough, sadistic, and smart women in the movie since Barbara Stanwyck made Double Indemnity 50 years ago. On the run with the money, she hits a small town and continues what looks like her career of twisting men around her little finger. Peter Berg is her new target.
Go find yourself a nice little cowgirl, make nice little cow babies, and leave me alone.
I'm hung like a horse. Think about it.
Let's see.
Excuse me?
Mr. Ed, let's see.
She's got a lawyer, played by J.T. Walsh, who has gotten her out of scrapes before. Anybody ever check you for a heartbeat, he tells her at one point?
So what? Hold on to it for how long?
Well, as long as it takes to finalize the divorce.
How long does that take?
He'll fight it, maybe 2 years, less if you're lucky.
Oh, Jesus, Frank.
Well, I'm sorry, the law doesn't make it more convenient for you to steal and deal drugs, Bridget.
Notice again here how uncompromisingly contemptuous the Fiorentino character is as she tries to involve Berg in a murder-for-hire scheme.
I did it for us, Mike. What bothers me is your attitude.
My attitude?
Yes.
I expect unconditional support from a lover, for better or worse. Jesus.
I killed the bastard. I wouldn't take it back if I could.
The Last Seduction, which I think is a terrific movie, is made by a director named John Dowell, whose Red Rock West had already been relegated to video stores before becoming a surprise cult hit in theaters earlier this year. My guess is Dowell's films are so tough and so smart that exhibitors don't think their audiences can handle them, but I think exhibitors are wrong, and true moviegoers are going to love this film. The Last Seduction is one of the most original and distinctive films of the year, and Linda Fiorentino's amazing performance is a reminder of how rarely women get to call all the shots in a movie.
Well, that's what's so terrific about the film, is that your expectation... We have been so conditioned that you're waiting for the soft side of this woman to come out.
Yeah.
And you're waiting, and then you start doing exactly what you just did, is you start sort of laughing, smiling at this character who has got everything in order and is in total control, and it's great to see this reversal of form.
We see characters like this so well. Not even characters like this aren't even played by men that often, but usually played by men. And you know, the funny thing here, and it is funny, this movie is played on a dead serious level. But the more you think about it, the more you do smile because of the manipulation that's going on.
This guy, John Dowell, with these two pictures, is obviously a throwback to a hard-boiled kind of filmmaking that I know that I have longed for, and I think he's going to establish himself as a brand name. I hope that when he works with a bigger studio project, that he is able to keep the intensity there and he doesn't get...
Oh, I do too, because, you know, frequently when you get these latter-day film noirs, they get all sentimental and nostalgic, and they're going to go for atmosphere and shadows and things.
Right.
He's got the very same thing that Billy Wilder had in Double Indemnity, which is a savage woman who just goes straight ahead and never looks in either direction. So it's not dated at all. It's really fresh.
It's a good picture. When we come back, Wallace Shawn and Julianne Moore put a new Times Square spin on an old play in Louis Malle's Vanya on 42nd Street. Our next film is Vanya on 42nd Street, and it's something special, a contemporary treatment of a classic play, Chekhov's Uncle Vanya, and already I can hear people saying, thanks, but no thanks. I read that in school. I don't want any more homework. I just want to relax in a film. But what you're going to miss is a brilliant staging of a great play about opportunities and lives lost. Director Louis Malle has filmed a group of 5 New York actors who actually gathered informally over 4 years to perform this play in workshop. Wallace Shawn from Louis Malle's My Dinner with Andre plays Vanya, bitter about the roads not taken in his life, as he confesses to his mother, played by Lynn Cohn.
I spend my nights in a vicious fury at the life I've let slip away from me. I could have enjoyed everything in life. I could have enjoyed everything. I enjoyed nothing.
Also full of remorse, Vanya's brother-in-law, professor played by George Gaines, who tries to find his youth in his pretty second wife, Julianne Moore.
How foolish of me to still keep on living.
Please.
Be patient.
I'm ready to collapse.
Soon, that you're all free.
What must I do?
Yes.
Please.
Because of me,
be
you're all
silent.
ready to collapse. All of you. Everyone bored.
Oh.
Wasting their youth. I'm the only one content. I see it.
You're destroying
Yes.
me.
Of course, I'm destroying everyone.
Another tormented individual visiting this family estate is an alcoholic doctor played by Larry Pine. The Chekhov script has been made even more bracing in this adaptation by David Mamet.
To belabor the obvious, you call me here for an interrogation, and I walk into your trap, didn't I? What do you feel as a man? Could we know your true feelings? All right, I'll tell you, and without the charade. I confess it. I'm yours.
These are really fine actors, and with the contemporary setting and clothing, Uncle Vanya seems as fresh as any work of the theater today. Director Malle and his cinematographer Declan Quinn have an uncanny knack for making close-ups feel utterly natural. This film has been beautifully lit, and because the film opens with these actors gathering in Times Square, I think this film is also a quiet tribute to all of the acting talent that is alive and working in Manhattan. Sort of people that we might pass on the streets, a force of people dedicated to the theater and the self-examined life. They should be very proud of their profession and this Vanya on 42nd Street.
Oh, I like it too, Gene, and I think it's important to point out that it is a movie and not just a film of a play.
Yes.
Because what they do is very interesting.
Oh,
As you start out and they're walking along the street, you're thinking, well, it's like My Dinner with Andre. He's walking along the street, and he goes into that restaurant. Here they go into the theater, and then somehow, you know, first it's kind of like they're all meeting, and they have coffee cups, and they're, you know, ready to rehearse. And then suddenly the lights begin to dim, and you don't ever realize the exact moment when the drama has started, and you get sucked right in. And I was so absorbed, and after a while, I was in this house somewhere in the middle of Russia. I was not anywhere near 42nd Street anymore.
Well, again, I want to talk, you know what I was talking about recognizing the talent of these actors?
That's right. That's
these
right.
are journeyman people who for 4 years went in and loved this place so much, and Malle found out about it and filmed it, and it's great.
Okay, when we come back, memories of a very special actor, Burt Lancaster.
The Century Plaza, offering the finest in luxury, service, and Southern California style, adjacent to Beverly Hills on LA's fashionable west side. The Century Plaza Hotel and Tower.
On our video segment this week, I want to go back and look at some of the best films of one of the best actors in Hollywood history, Burt Lancaster. He was one of the last of the true Hollywood giants, a star whose career spanned 5 decades and who was equally at home in bravado physical roles. After all, he was a circus trapeze artist before he became an actor, but he was also at home in offbeat art films. I think he was never better than in a 1957 film named Sweet Smell of Success, where he played J.J. Hunsaker, a famous movie name, a New York gossip columnist modeled after Walter Winchell. The Lancaster character took a cold delight in manipulating the lives of those who depended on him, including a desperate press agent played by Tony Curtis.
Mr. Falco, whom I did not invite to sit at this table tonight, is a hungry press agent and fully up to all the tricks of his very slimy trade. Match me, Sidney.
And he was fabulous in Atlantic City, opposite Susan Sarandon here, as a fading gangster who still had a touch of the old machismo.
You like the casinos? You go to them?
No. No, I don't like them. They're too wholesome for me. I mean, nuns, for Christ's sake, standing in line. Boy Scout troops. People blowing their welfare checks. It's too much nickel and diamond.
Sweet Smell of Success and Atlantic City. 2 very good movies by a very good actor, Burt Lancaster. We're going to miss him. Now let's take another look at the movies we reviewed this week. We had a split decision on The Road to Wellville. I was won over by its nutty charm, but Gene thought it was a pointless mess. 2 thumbs down for the laughable Silent Fall with Richard Dreyfuss as a psychiatrist in a plot that clearly needs psychiatric help. 2 more thumbs down for Stargate, which started promisingly as a visionary science fiction epic and then turned into a dumb shootout in the desert. 2 thumbs up, though, for John Dowell's complex and fascinating The Last Seduction with its smart and very tough performance by Linda Fiorentino. We really like this movie. And 2 more thumbs up for another film we liked, Vanya on 42nd Street, reuniting the Dinner with Andre team in an original and absorbing new version of Chekhov's family drama.
That's it for this week. Next week we'll be back with reviews of more new movies, including Mary Shelley's Frankenstein, starring Kenneth Branagh and Robert De Niro in the latest remake of the classic Gothic horror story, and also The War, starring Kevin Costner. That's next week, and until then, the balcony is closed.
Remington's Aqua Curl Steam Hair Setter. This exclusive wax core heated roller system is the world's favorite because it gives curls that last. The Aqua Curl, now from Remington. Hooked on Phonics teaches you to read using flashcards, music, and books. It's colorful, musical, and fun. Learn to read with Hooked on Phonics. Call 1-800-ABCD-EFG. It's America's favorite jelly bean, Jelly Belly, now appearing at theaters and video stores with good taste. Jelly Belly beans, try them. You'll love them. If you'd like to save up to 50% on your contact lenses, eyeglasses, and eye exams, call for a free Lens Express catalog and find out how you can start saving right away.